What's up, y'all? You know it is. It's your boy, Big Tank Hank, coming at you with another live stream. Today, we got a young man who's very, very, very passionate about this here fish hobby that we all know and love. Goes by the name of Rob's Aquatics. We're gonna bring Rob up. We're gonna learn a little bit about him. Get a little personal, get a little insight. Uh, See where his passions lie in this fish hobby. See what parts he really like about it, what parts he really don't like about it, what he strives for in the future in this hobby. So y'all give a warm welcome to Rob of Rob's Aquatic. What's happening, man?
Not much. So I'm Rob. I live in South Florida. I make a bunch of videos documenting my tanks, exploring canals, the whole nine. Um, in high school, I used to wrestle. I wrestled from sophomore to senior year. Not too bad at it. I got the grit award for my high school team. Pretty proud of that. And yeah, it's essentially it. I basically just keep fish, make YouTube videos, and before all that, I mainly just fished. I was really into fishing before I was into fish keeping, and then that's basically the rundown, like short synopsis of what I am. I might go inside because of the plans, but
So let the people know how old you are, man.
I'm only 18, but I'm gonna be turning 19 in August 5th. So soon. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old.
hey, hey, y'all. He said he's getting old. Hey,
I feel it
crazy.
already.
The crazy thing is, my daughter is 18, and I'm looking through the videos or whatever, and she was saying, that guy looks like he ought to be about my age. I say,
You know what's funny though? People, I've gotten people saying that I look like or they thought I was like in my 20s, like 24, 26. But I don't know.
hey, she peeped you out from a distance. She was like, he looks like he's my age. She's stereotyping us. We all these old people sitting around talking fish. And
No,
Louis,
I've
he
got
looks
that
my
itch.
age. I was like, no. I say, yeah, I think he is about your age. I say, but yeah, he's got tanks on tanks on tanks. So he don't even want no furniture. He's got so many tanks.
Oh yeah, I had more tanks, but I'm trying to cut back, but not really because I took down one of my racks to put up a 60-gallon and a 120 for my corals. So I say I'm downsizing, but I'm not actually. I'm just increasing like the volume, but I'm taking away the number of tanks.
Okay. Let's see who we got in the chat. Did the chat come up on your
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, I see them.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh, Detroit Shrimp for the Aquatics. I recognize your name, bro. What's good, bro?
Too cool for schooly. What's going on? Oh, we hashtag frontosing. I wish that tank big enough for a frontosa. Lonnie, aka Looney Tunes, multiple aquariums. What's going on? Geek Boy, Trevor Gregory. Hello, hello, hello. Monster Fish Gal Lori. Thank you, man, for coming through. Skull Aquatics, Lance Jones, Deborah, DD, how do? Thank you. Scary Terry, thank you for coming through. There he is. Patrick Hardy, what's going on, sir? What's happening? Who else we got here? Natural Aquariums, what's happening, bro? Thank you for coming on in here. Lance Jones. We got Freaky Fish Lady. Thank you for coming through. Danikin, what's happening, man? What's happening? Scary Terry, I saw you. Science Fish Gals Fishing. Science Gals Fishing. Hello, hello, hello. Let me see who else we got. Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics. Thank you for coming through, sir. Casual Aquatics. Xana Doo Doo. What's happening? What's happening? Aquarium Domain. Thank you for coming through. Thank you. All right, y'all. Thank you for coming through. So, all right. How many How many tanks you have from smallest to biggest? Oh, Patty, what's going on, Patty? What's going on? I ain't mean to miss you. What's going on? From smallest to largest, what do you have?
So I have a rack of like 8, 10 gallons, and then I've got a 54 corner, a 55, a 60 long, a 60 deep frag tank, and then another 65. Well, a 65 is like a 55, is a little bit taller. And then I got a 120. I think I've got 3 or 4 150s, and then I got a 300 that I haven't set up yet because it's going to be a salt tank, but I'm just waiting until I actually have like enough livestock to actually warrant setting it up. But I got a panther grouper in the 120 growing out right now, so that might be sooner than later, to be honest.
Okay, okay. What livestock do you have?
I keep basically everything. I've got flower horn. I've got discus that they've been spawning like crazy. Every single week after every water change, I get 2 spawns out of them, but I don't have any space to actually raise those out. But then I got an Oscar, I got a Pleco, silver dollars, Central American cichlids. I have an Umbi growing out right now. He's going to be a stud. I've got corals, just generic like reef tank stuff like Euphilia, LPS. No SPS yet, just like softies and LPS. I've got Neocaridina and Caridina shrimp. I've got wild caught fish from the canals. So it's like a native aquarium. I've got peacock bass in there right now. What I believe to be 2 tilapia, and also a baby little mine in there with some largemouth bass. So I'm going to grow those out and then see what I want to do with them from there. But I've got a lot of stuff. Oh, I've got goldfish too, actually.
Okay. And I'm gonna have to rewind you. What is the S softies, SPS, OPS? What is
So
that?
LPS, it's long polyp stony coral. So those are the corals that you see with the long like tentacles. Actually, I don't think I can flip the camera, but like the hammer corals, frog spawn, uh, you know, the easier to keep corals are not as finicky. SPS are the small polyp stony coral, I believe. They're harder to keep, more finicky when it comes to water parameters. You got to monitor basically everything, and you got to have a really stable tank to keep them. That's why I don't think my tank's ready yet. And then softies are like mushrooms and zoanthids, which are also super easy to keep. Yeah, they're just really easy to keep.
Okay, okay. Now I'm gonna see if I can remember how to do this. You go to your more at the bottom of your screen to camera or settings and then camera, and they'll have where you can flip the camera around.
Camera. All right. I'll go back inside and see. The lights are off right now, so the tank isn't going to be on. I got to do like gymnastics to get to the tank. But so in this tank, this is like my frag tank right now. This is a hammer coral. That's a hammer coral. We got a goniopora right there. Torch, blasto. Those are all LPS. And then over here, I've got another goni, a Fabia coral that was reeling back for months, and I just now got it back to the point where it's starting to grow. More Fabias, another hammer back there, and I got a really big anemone. Right now, he's small. I guess the clownfish has been harassing him and is hosting him right now, trying to, get their snooze in. And then this tank, I think this is my 120-gallon predator tank. I'm letting it grow a ton of algae right now because I want to see if I can't breed snails so I don't have to buy them. But my panther grouper's in here hugging the rocks somewhere. They like cup the rocks with their body. It's super cool, but I'm not seeing them. But that is basically the rundown of these 2 tanks. They've got AI lights on them, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, okay. So with the are saltwater snails more pricey?
I think they're only like $1 a piece, so actually they're less expensive. It's just I don't feel like buying them. I just want to try to breed them.
Okay, okay.
But I love the clean look of this tank. If I didn't have this power head here, it would just be like glass across the top. That'd be really cool.
Man, I wish that those low boys and whatnot would be more readily available.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I mean, hey, I'm trying to tell you, freshwater people, we like those tanks too.
Oh, I agree 100%. This would be a really cool planet tank. But right now it's a coral tank.
Right.
And then, I could show you the 300 on the ground. I don't really have much light in here, but this whole thing, it's 6 foot by 3 foot by 27 inches. And it's a beast of a tank. But I might wait on that until I actually need it, because it would take a lot to set that up.
Are those 2x4s?
It's this cart thing. It's this dolly that was made for this tank. So
Okay.
It's literally the same footprint as the actual tank.
Gotcha.
But I'll go back outside. Oh, I could show you some peacock bass right now.
All right. Hey, saltwater enthusiasts, I got a few saltwater people on the line that's gonna come in for those of y'all that are actually into salt. I want to be able to mix that thing up so y'all can get what you thirst for also. But I have some people coming on that are actually saltwater people.
Sure. I'm still like a fresh or saltwater noob. I've only been keeping reefing rather for like almost a year, I think now, but still a noob.
Okay. Gotcha. But that's cool, man. I like looking at saltwater. I had a couple back in the day, but talking about chasing parameters. They say, hey, don't chase parameters. Yeah, freshwater. I don't have to. I've had freshwater so long that I don't chase parameters.
Neither do I.
I'm instinctual for the most part, it's because of my time in. Not like I'm being cocky or anything, for any of the snobs out there. But yeah, salt. Oh man, you talking about chasing parameters, dude?
You literally have to, because you
PB.
It happens fast. It happens fast if you're not on top of it. But eventually, once the tank's more stable and balanced, there's not as much work. I haven't done a water change on that frag tank ever since I set it up. If you keep it lower stocked, you won't really have to chase nitrates or phosphates to lower them. You won't really have to do too much if you just take it easy on feeding and the fish. But I'm in saltwater more because I like corals. Like freshwater is where I get all my pets from, and then saltwater is where I get corals. I just like corals a lot.
Okay. Yeah, no, me, and I mean, I guess for one, I was not in the market to afford salt. Well, I can't really say that. I can't say that because when I had a 10-gallon saltwater tank and a 5-gallon, and they already tell me, you shouldn't have small saltwater tanks anyway. But I mean, I didn't know any better then, and I spent some crazy money, just for these little bitty saltwater
tanks. The lights
alone
are crazy. The lights are the biggest thing, but with a 10-gallon tank, it's really tough. Like, I personally wouldn't start with a tank lower than like 55 gallons, because 40-gallon breeder you could do, but 10-gallon is pretty tough.
Yeah, Scary Terry said consistent parameters or keep a saltwater don't need to chase. Well, see, Terry, for somebody like me, I call it chase, because for me to keep a saltwater tank consistent, I would be chasing the whole time. My ADHD makes it real hard for me to have extreme detailed projects. Oh man, I would literally, if you could picture this in your head, don't ask me why I got this picture, but an old school van with a sliding panel door on the side, and you finna get in it and they start driving off and you got your hand in, that would be me with salt
Yeah,
water. I
it
would
makes
be
a lot of money is invested in saltwater, so that is completely warranted.
RB, what's going on, man? Welcome in, welcome in.
I got my thing on a charger. Oh.
GRB, what's going on? Well, yeah, man. What can you remember when you first was bitten by that bug to keep these fish in these little glass boxes?
Well, my dad has always had like a fish tank and koi pond, but I didn't get into it until I think I was 16, and I think I was working. No, I was still working only one job then, but I had money to spend. My dog had been dead for a minute. I just wanted a pet, and
It did for a minute.
actually, I started off keeping bass because I was still really into fishing, so I was catching bass every day, and I just thought the idea of raising out a 10-pound like monster bass was the coolest thing to me. So that's when I started, and then from there, I got a sunfish like a bluegill, and then I got an Oscar. And being a complete noob, I mixed them together, but they were all just so savage. It just hooked me. They were so cool. They'd annihilate anything in that water. Like, and then yeah, here I am, completely addicted to fish keeping.
So do you have any what they would consider to be nano fish?
Um, I wouldn't say I have any nano fish right now because the only thing small I keep really outside of the rummy nose tetras in my discus tank are those Neocaridina shrimp. But other than that, I don't keep anything small. Everything
Okay,
I keep
okay.
I like cichlids because they're like big bodied. I think they look impressive, and I enjoy seeing them be thick.
I hear you. Oh, wait a minute. I might be able to show you this fish,
The
but I
betta.
tell you, but let me move slowly so as not to. Let me see.
Oh, that's a
Just as I
really
say that, look, just as I say that and turn around, he disappears. You see how that works?
yeah.
Oh my God.
I have that same problem.
Ah, man, I was moving slow on purpose. Maybe he realized something was strange because I was moving slow. Oh man, you're gonna make me look like that?
Make you look bad. I'm
Oh man, I
leaving.
thought he was my friend. Well, y'all, we're gonna try that again later on.
That's a really cool tank. You know what I really want to do when I have like a house? I saw this one video by Sea Friendly Aquarium or Sea Friendly Reef where he went to this museum and they had a polyudarium with a South American biotope and they had arowanas and stuff in it. But yeah, those fish are
Well,
really cool.
well, there's some fry.
Yeah, they look cool. I really want a beta tank, but all my tanks have those shrimp in it, and I want when my brother moves out, I want to remake a 10-gallon tank rack, except just get a bunch of 10-gallon cubes and plant them real nice. But right now, all my 10-gallon tanks are just kind of like shrimp breeding tanks. Yeah, that tank's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can say that there's another, oh, where did you go? Can you see him kind of dead center
Yeah, I
next
could
to the
barely.
rock?
Yeah, I could see him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's about six in this tank.
That's
But
sick.
yeah, let me see. Oh, got my brine shrimp there. All
I need to
right.
get a brine shrimp hatchery, to be honest.
Oh no, those are frozen.
Yeah. I mean, my Oscar goes crazy for brine shrimp, but I haven't actually fed on brine shrimp in a long time. But I want to start breeding goldfish, but I'd need to get live brine shrimp hatchery going before I even started that, so I could have some experience before I actually need to feed them.
Right. Yeah, I need to pull the trigger on it.
It's thing is, like, I don't know. It just sounds like so much work.
That's
the
key. It sounds like. Now, from all the videos that I watched, I mean,
I guess if it's part of a routine, then it'll become like second nature. But I don't know. It just sounds like a lot of work, and I don't know. But goldfish, I'm gonna start getting really into goldfish soon. They look really cool.
Let me see. I need to have a co-host who just reads chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up now.
Y'all know I'm ADHD.
So they'll raise brine. So if you just you can start a colony in a small tank, Skull Aquatics. Because if you could do that, that's actually, I got a spare 10-gallon I could use.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the breakdown on that one. You can, but what's said is adult brine shrimp has very little nutritional value, but in that, if it's alive, if it's still alive, it does have nutritional value. But baby brine shrimp, they still have some of the yolk, in them. And
right.
so they're extremely,
they're powerful. Got
a
lot of punch.
If bodybuilders, figure that they can raise baby brine shrimp and put them in shakes, the market, they cost off arm and a leg. That's why they do, the egg whites, and then they may have 16 whites and 10, no, not even that, 5
when I
yolks.
Was lifting, I would just eat eggs. Like, I was like, why am I gonna put all that? I'm just gonna eat it. It's just calories in, calories out. I mean, regardless of what you eat, if you're burning more than you eat, you're good.
Eggs have a tendency to make me sick. During my big part of big tank Hank aspect, man, I'm 265 now. I was up to 330 in my early 30s, lifting weights, and I didn't care,
Were you a power lifter?
Yeah.
My brother's getting into that, yeah.
Again, ADHD, trying to dial in the diet and all of the particulars, the minute, particulars in bodybuilding is so
bodybuilding's
hard,
fun,
man.
though. I was really into that for a minute, and actually I'm gonna start a second channel probably when I do decide to cut again, because the reason I'm the biggest I've ever been in my life, because I went on a dirty bulk, and then as soon as I was about to come off it and start cutting again, I had to move down here, and then I never like being in a gym. Like, whenever I lift or anything, I just like to lift on my own, no music, no nothing, just like try to just go hard. But I don't like going to public gyms, especially with a camera. I don't want to, have some, I don't want to be like mid-set trying to push some weight off my chest, and then somebody comes running up and snatches my camera. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But when I was at my leanest, I was like 148, and I would say probably a good like 13% body fat. But I was like, my body type, I'm like a short, stocky dude. I wasn't able to hold that, but I think next time around I'll be good. But my PR before I stopped lifting was 285, which is pretty good. I hit that when I was 17. That was on a bench, 285 on the bench. So when I start lifting again, I'm not going to start cutting until I can start lifting again, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to be really frail.
Man, I had a a powerlifting, bodybuilding slash channel for quite a few years. It's Big Tank Hank 2 now, or BTH 2 now. And I deleted a lot of stuff on it, but the I don't even know what you would call it. The fitness genre
Mhm.
is so self-absorbing, absorbed and narcissistic that like how the fish fam here is like, embrace everybody, this because this is the type of person that I am, I really love this.
Yeah.
There was no cracking because I wasn't that self-absorbed guy like that. There was no cracking into um the um popularity train over there because I wasn't gonna be stroking egos like,
Yeah.
you know, I
I
feel
don't play
myself
that.
lifting stuff, but it's like, oh, there was so much going on over there, man, that it was, yeah, I'll just watch videos. I'm not, post mine, and I did a lot of inspirational talks where I would just see things. I would be either in the gym and I'd voice over just a thought, something may not have nothing to do with working out, but I'd speak on a subject while working out, or sitting in my car in the parking lot at 4 o'clock in the morning, just speak on different things. But yeah, I couldn't, yeah, live stream. If you're not doing something crazy, you know, hey, I'm in here with these fake weights at 5% body fat, bench pressing 500 pounds, and
On
trying
all
to
the gear in the world.
yeah,
But
trying to
nobody
convince
knows. I'm
people
not
that
telling
I'm
anybody.
I'm natural. I wanna I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm argued to death. Man,
There's
no.
a kid I went to high school with. Part of the reason why I started YouTube and feeling like it's possible, his name is Jesse James West. He's probably got like 300K subs right now. But he I was so confused by his like life choices. The kid had a full ride D1 scholarship to Lehigh for lacrosse, and then he transferred home just to like focus on like him like YouTube and bodybuilding because they wanted him to lose weight for lacrosse, but he was already on a YouTube grind, bodybuilding, and now he's like huge. I think he averages like 150, 250K videos or views almost every day. Like it's insane, and he's just living like a king. Like it's crazy. So seeing that showed me it's possible because I definitely have the work ethic to where like I'll bust, to get there. Like I don't care what it takes. Like I'll get there. Um, but yeah, just seeing that it's possible is part of the reason why I even started a channel. Because watching a kid blow up like that, it's like, why can't I? Like, there's
Has
nothing.
he? How has he changed? Have you
I
had
haven't.
any interaction with him since?
No, I was in when we were in high school. He was a senior and I was a sophomore. We were in the same art class together, and we were like friends in that class. But outside of that, I guarantee you, I don't know. I can't say for certain. He was a really humble kid in high school, but I have no idea. He lives in LA now. He's like an influencer.
Gotcha.
But
Hey, fish people, we gonna get back to fish here in a minute. But we ended up tapping into another one of my passions. But it's it's extremely hard for him to get to that place with that subject matter. It is extremely hard to get there without the uh, image of soul selling. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's it's hard, dude, to just show up. Hey, how you doing, guys? I'm so and so. I'm gonna take you on this ride with me. We're gonna go through these ways. I'm gonna break down what I eat, blah blah blah. No, it's like the people want, okay, like the arenas, back in the gladiator days. The people want blood, the people want death, they want gore, or they want you on gear,
yeah.
with eight pack, squatting 1,000 pounds.
They want a Gymshark athlete.
Yeah, and it's that those are not real people. And the price you pay at the end of that ride, the price you pay
A lot of them not smart cycles. A lot of people don't run smart cycles. I'm gonna wait to start touching gear and stuff when I'm like 30s, late 30s, when my body's already starting to decline. Like, oh, might as well just see what happens, play around. But I don't know. We'll see how I feel at that time. But I know kids who are like my age. Actually, one kid I know, he was like 16 when he started playing around like new compounds like SARMs. And he still does now, but he'll never admit it. It's weak, in my opinion. Like, why can't you be upfront? Like, regardless of what I'm doing, I never try to portray it as something different, regardless of what it is. Like fish keeping, my tanks are the way they are, my hobbies the way they are, the content's the way it is. It'll always just be. There's always going to be a sort of realism to it.
And on
No
that,
facades.
what do you prefer? Live plants to fake, type of substrates, goal look at the end of the day.
I think the coolest looking tanks are probably like planet tanks. I think Aquarium Domain's in here. He has a gold, like his one 3,000 gallon or 2,000 gallon display tank, South American tank. That's like goals. That thing looks insane. But really, planet tanks are probably like the quintessential like freshwater tank for me. But it's hard to accomplish that when you have stuff like silver dollars or flagtail. My flagtail has almost like tripled in size in the past 2 months. It's growing like I don't understand it. It's got some weird genetic thing going on. It's an anomaly. It's crazy, but it's hard to achieve that with cichlids though, because a lot of cichlids will just tear everything up. And fake plants, I'm not a fan of fake plants either. So it's a tough balance.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm like you see what my tanks look like. I'm just getting. Hold on, y'all.
You
I
sneaking
told y'all I'm
around?
ADHD. Look, I told y'all I'm ADHD. Hold on, no, that was the mail I tried to show you. Come on now. We got to work this time. We got to do it. Come on. Stealth mode. This is the
Yeah, he's very
mother
cool.
to all of my fry.
She looks good.
Now she's my friend. The fact that I saw her out, I'm pretty sure she was going to hold on and not run off.
She's trying to lure him out for you.
When it's time to eat, she's right there at the front of the tank. Hey, what's up? How you doing today? How was work last night? That's her. But
there's this
guy over
breeder.
here.
There's this breeder in, I think it's in Indonesia. He's got these crazy betas. I remember asking him like what the price was, and for like a nice female, nice male was like $250 for the female, or $250 for the male, $300 for the male. They got this crazy star pattern. It's like super bright red, like tinge, and then a white star tail. And I really, really want one, but I don't see myself spending $300 on a beta anytime soon.
No,
but they're actually crazy.
I've spent that on a few better, but yeah, 300 for one. Did they call him Hellboy Plakat?
If I don't know if I'm able to close out of this and send you like a DM of his profile, but I will later. But I think it's his own strain, and that's why he charges so much. But by now, I'm sure people are breeding them like crazy, and I just have to find somebody who's selling them for less. Because he sells pairs too.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's real hard. When you're talking about better splendors, especially those that are the popular ones here in the United States, it's real hard to nail down patterns. So he's created a wave but you know how waves do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to stay there because these splendors, the variation of genetic color combinations is so vast, man.
How
That
many betas do you think he's culling just for those couple few? If you had to guess.
70%.
I wonder, like, what do people even do when they cull fish? I don't understand. Do they just feed them to other fish? Like,
Well, you can take them to your LFS, um, feed them to your other fish. But with betters, LFSs, man,
they'll
like
take them?
my LFS has like a better wall with like 300 betters on it, and they have some very good looking fish at very affordable prices. You go to him with your cuz, he give you $2-3 a piece, up to
That's
five
pretty good.
dollars a piece. Yeah, up to $5 depending on um if they're you can kind of tell Pet Smart. Yeah.
No, I would never. I just avoided those fish entirely. But something weird with Florida, I remember asking local fish stores, like, because I've got a pair of RTMs, Red Tiger Mode Against cichlids, that are like super colorful. They breed all the time, but they eat their fry after they get to a certain size, and I don't have a tank to grow them out, so it's just extra food for them. But I remember asking my LFS store of choice, like my local fish store, whether or not they'd buy fry off me, like when they do grow out. In New Jersey, that would have been no issue. Like the guy at Sea Level Aquarium, if you're in New Jersey, it's the best fish store in my opinion. Next to like no, it's Sea Level, Absolutely Fish, and then my favorite Adam's Pet Safari. But you need like an agricultural license to sell. You need a bunch of licensing to actually sell fish to your local fish store in Florida. But I guess it's because of invasive fish. They don't.
So there they go
I don't know
again,
why he
right?
couldn't be like, oh, like I'll buy it from you as like a friend, like on the side. But I don't know. I'm wondering if like Seagrass Farms has some kind of contracting thing going on, like because that's where he gets his fish from. So I really have no idea why it's so stringent. Because
I
in New
mean, it could
Jersey,
be.
the stores just take whatever. Like you could give the store literally anything, they'll take it for the most part.
No competition. The competition scenarios, depending on like Seagrass Farms is what it is. Um, that happens a lot. I mean, here, I had a few LFS. I had one that was closer to me that you could find some of those surprise fish at that particular LFS, but he was literally like you say your mom and pop,
Yeah.
small little store. You could find them. Whereas the LFS I'll tell you about with the better wall or whatever, there he had some of everything, high quality, but in that he's getting them from breeders, local
Like
breeders,
local breeders. That's the
breeding
way
in
to
our
do it.
water.
That's the way to do it.
But then he's buying chunks from them. So when I would have something, and I'm like, okay, I have these guppies, or I have this, that, or the other. I mean, it's to the point when I go to my LFS, he doesn't even really quarantine my fish. I mean, that should be something you do, but I mean, he
Yeah, but
doesn't because he knows if I bring them to him, you know.
should be
But
straight.
if I went to either one of the two at any different moment, I was not gonna mention the other.
Yeah.
Because they're, well, hey, how am I gonna promise you anything? But they just have that mindset. I mean, hey, they're trying to make money, but they have that mindset. They think you're supposed to like only be, especially if you have something that they're making money on. They're like, man, it's supposed to just be me.
I was
Ah,
talking to the Elfish store owner I was just telling you. Also, by the way, South Florida fish stores, complete trash compared to New Jersey. Like, it's not even a competition. Predatory Fins is like the only one I know worth really going to down here. just for like the wow factor, and he imports a lot of cool stuff. But the guy I was talking, he got like mad at me for asking about like how he sells coral, like what licensing he needs. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna get start up an LLC, get the correct licensing, and start selling corals locally and online. And he's like, oh yeah, you and everybody else. And I was like, all right. I was like, I just laughed at him. I was like, all right.
But yet he still wants them from you though, right? But
he wouldn't even buy it from me. And the other thing is too, his like he can make so much more money. He's got like the cheapest like LED over the top of his corals. Like I don't even know how his corals are still alive. Like I don't know. He's just angry old man. I don't know.
it's how can I put it? This hobby, for it being so open, you know, and accepting. Again, money, capitalism, it's gonna be what it is, but the snob aspect and the alienation aspect can turn on a dime. You know, you get sucked in over here. You get sucked in over here with like the people in our fish fam. You know, oh man, this is beautiful. I'm not, especially if you're somebody that's new coming in. Man, this is beautiful. Man, the fish hobby is so wonderful. You know, I cannot believe, you know, that all of you guys exist. And then you run up on the other end of the spectrum, you know, and they're like, you're trash, you know.
You don't even have this, that, and the other thing. You even know what you're doing. It's like, my bad. I'm not spending $10,000 on equipment. Like what?
Yes. If you show up every day, or no, every day, some people do it, but no. If you show up weekly at LFS, they know you. Act like this guy is showing up weekly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see him all the time. Act like you see him. I don't care if he's only spending $3 here, $5 there. Every now and then, that guy's showing up and popping $100 bill. Yeah. Everybody's not rich. My LFS, I have a really, really good relationship right now with him. I mean, he's gonna give me, I don't care what I bring him, I'm not getting less than $1 a fish. You know, my little old mud gubbers is gonna get $1, you know, $1 a fish. I mean, he's like, man, you know, you're always.
I mean, that's still pretty cool though. That's still pretty cool. The guy at Sea Level, my brother's friends with him. Like they have a good relationship. You could literally trade, and he will trade corals with my brother just cause he's just like, yeah, here you go. I'll give you that if you give me this. He's a really cool guy. But one of my favorite fish stores are Adam's Pet Safari in Chester, New Jersey, because that was like the first real fish store I ever went to. Like as soon as I walked in the door, my like mind was blown. I was like, what? I didn't know anything in there that actually existed. It was really cool. That's probably the reason why I like this, because it's like 99% of the people that walked through my door didn't know any of this. It was even existing. Like, arowana, what's that? Oscar, what's that? You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool to me.
Yes, freaky fish lady. At the end of the day, and you know, y'all been watching me long enough to know how I am heart-wise. At the end of the day, what she may be going through is more important than what you can go through that she owns at her LFS. Yes, keep pouring the kindness on her. You know, that salve, that balm, you know, excuse me, y'all, that scripture, that's the Bible type of thing I'm touching on. You don't have to be a believer, but you know that I am. You know, that healing factor, love is such a healer. You know, love sometimes goes beyond any medication you can put in or on your body. Continue to love on her. Continue to love on her.
Yeah, most people feel a certain way because something happened to influence that. I never I really mostly just stay to myself, and I'm never really. I can be aggressive, you know. I'm just a guy, like I'm just a dude. I do have sometimes temporal issues, just a guy, but for the most part, I just match whatever somebody's giving me is most of the time what they're gonna get out of me. You know what I mean? If it's very respectful, I'll be very respectful. But if it's very disrespectful, I can't promise that I'll be able to stay calm.
I'm pretty decent. Well, I mean, I work at a prison for God's sake, so I can't be flipping out anyway. I've learned how.
Ooh.
I've learned how to do. I mean, I'm a big boy. I'm very aggressive, but I'm tempered.
Same,
And,
same.
you know, so my thing would be, and I'm very confrontational, but not necessarily in a negative manner. If I show up and somebody has an attitude like that, you know, I may ask them, "Hey, you okay?" Now you notice how I close the spacing,
Yeah,
I'm like, are you okay? You know, it's okay. You know, it can't be that bad. Talk to me. But again, I've closed closed the gap on them. So that in itself is intimidating, and I know it. But
it's just
while
like
there's
a habit you have.
yeah,
That,
while they're experiencing that, hearing me ask them actually how they feel, tell me about it, talk to me. You know, let's find a way for you to get past this. It takes people, outside of what they are normally used to doing and how people normally respond to them. It takes them out of that, and it kind of snaps their
defense.
normal. Yeah, and so then they end up like, yes, this is going on and that's going on, and then I'm like this. So I leave there, with somebody saying, "Man, hey, he did care." You know, they may not even be used to somebody actually flipping it,
Bro, they're
flipping
probably
it.
used to controlling every situation.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you don't have to control everything. Everything's not going to be peachy keen, but don't allow situations, scenarios, and things to taint who you should be. Because I don't care who it is, people. This is who I am. Hey, pardon my French, because y'all know I don't really curse on here, but if you're an asshole, that's not a good thing ever.
I try not to be as
Ever.
much as possible.
And I mean, yeah, sometimes, someone might tweak me, you know, and I have to get them together, but I don't leave them like that.
Right, right.
You know, we'll say, "Oh man, you made me get outside of my character." No, no. It's you. We all have the ability to be that other person. It's just which one you decide to be more often, you know, is where it makes a difference. Yeah, I don't like to leave people. I don't want to leave people broken. If I show up and it has nothing to do with me, I still have to see, hey, what's going on? I might be at the gas pump pumping gas, and I'm looking at you over the pump over there. And I see that it's obvious
Yeah.
there's something going on. I'm gonna talk to you. Hey, how you doing over there? Then they looking, talking to me. What? Then I might wave. Hey, how you doing? Confused. Knocked
Not a
off
lot of
their
people expect to be called out, to be
yeah,
honest.
knocked off of their spot. Oh my God, what's going on? How do I react to this? You know, I'm like, hey, it's a good day today, man. Look at that's some wonderful sun. Or I really enjoy this, when it's cloudy like this. It doesn't even matter what's going on. I'm gonna speak of it as though it's good. I could be lying at the moment. But if I know that it's something that's gonna uplift them, hey, you know, hey, nice pair of pants you got on there. And I'm like, man, hey, you need to never wear those again. But I'm not
Those
gonna
were
tell them.
trash.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell them that. It's like, give them something, to hold on to, man. They leave from there like, man, there was one person out here. that act like he really saw me. Because people want to be seen and people want to be heard. They want
True.
to be seen and they want to be heard. All of these people, I'm a loner, and I hear you. Yes, I am too, to an extent, but I don't dislike people to the point to where I just can't have, you know, any interaction. That's not.
I just what's it called? I don't know. I'm very picky choosy who I interact with. Always.
And you have to, how can I put it? You have to also be concerned, um, keep yourself safe. Um, like I say, you know where I work. So I have a lot of years in that business. I have a lot of years in that business to where I can move in a certain way because I know, um I have a certain set of skills that
Mm.
could that not the physical aspect of it, psychological aspect also. I have a set of skills now that I can move in the midst of anybody, put it that way. I don't live in
Well,
the
yeah,
hood.
you're used to inmates. They probably
Yeah,
aren't
so
the nicest people to interact with.
yeah, there's a lot of if they're around me any length of time, they fall into, I hate to say fall in line because it's not like that. I
They
don't
just get
rule.
comfortable.
Yeah, I don't rule with a heavy hand, anything like that. They just realize I'm genuine. You know, they see how I speak, what I do, what I don't do, what I allow, what I don't allow, and how I am always respectful of another person, period. And they reciprocate. I mean,
Yeah,
the baddest guy, they reciprocate. But it's
I
all
think.
individual. It's all individual. Because when I'm off duty and another officer come in, that officer may be trash. And that same offender, let's say he's been in there 20 years. He knows how to turn it on and turn it off. But if
Maybe
you,
it's the way you carry yourself. Maybe you have like a certain confidence that they could relate to. Like you're just comfortable with who you are, type deal.
yeah, yeah,
So they're just like not.
yeah, no,
They
it's
match that.
real. There's very little authenticity anymore. You know,
True.
people,
Very true.
people, people like to use the word, man, I'm real. Man,
You're a
if you have to,
snake.
if you have to say it, you're convincing somebody, and that makes me leery.
People. I remember every video I make when I go to these canals, like trapping and fishing or whatever. Some people will be very happy that I include even when I don't catch anything, and then some people will be like, "Oh, you didn't even catch anything." But that's just reality. It's just what it is. You're not going to catch on something every time, and I'm going to upload it regardless because it's just the experience of going out and like trying to. That is
Yeah,
enjoyable. But yeah, there's always going to be a certain degree of realism. Like I don't try. My moral code. I don't lie. I don't lie like really rarely ever. Like I'll just tell you what it is. I won't try to hide something. It's just there. It's just up. It's there. Um, But yeah, I think eventually, I think that's something commendable. Just being open. Just there's nothing going on here that you don't know. It's just what it is.
yeah. I mean, and you don't have to do any backtracking, man. It's so hard to keep up with. Yeah, I got a casual aquatic, fish tropics. Yeah, John Coffey from Green Mile. I hear that all the time, especially when I shave. If I don't have a mustache, and back in my bigger days, it was always John Coffey off of Green Mile. I'm tired, boss. But yeah, it's, man, you have to chasing parameters when you lie and deceive and things like that. Man, you have to chase those lies so much, dude.
Not
I
even
mean, I
worth
don't
the
know.
effort.
Those people have to be exhausted, man. I mean, at some point in time, you just gonna crack.
Like, are you
It's not
even
worth it.
living your own life at that point? Like, whose life are you living? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. Like let's say people in the midst of crime, like their life is crime. Um, you have a dope dealer who's selling a lot of drugs. He's making a lot of money, but he's paranoid all the time. He starts to use his own
People trying to
product
kill him.
in order to stay somewhat at peace, he thinks, but it's creating an addiction, which is spiraling him never, ever, ever really at peace or happy. A lot of the ones that get caught is because it's like, man, policemen come and save me from myself. They'll get locked
Interesting.
up. They'll get locked up so they can lay down and have a nice, peaceful. How can you do that in prison? But yes, yes, a lot of them, and this is coming from conversations I've had with them. A lot of them have had their lives have been such turmoil, even though they look good on the outside. They only got good sleep and rest locked up.
I think that's
All
true
right,
for a lot
RB.
more people than people know. Because I hear stories
Yeah,
about
no
that
doubt.
all the time. Kids who are involved in gang violence, they're like, "Thank God I'm in the cell." Like, Jesus, because people are really
I
like
worked
trying to bank
juvenile.
them. They're trying to take their
Yeah, I
head
worked
off.
juvenile. I worked juvenile for a while, and I would work overnights, like 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. Put them to bed around 9:30. Not sleep bedtime yet, but wind down, write letters, maybe have light conversation with each other before lights out. Excuse me up at 10, and hear the stories that they tell. You know,
Oh God,
they start off, like competing with each other. At this point in time, there's very few lies being told.
they're trying to see who had it worse. It's like a flex.
So, yeah, and I'm always I would be a fly on the wall. Didn't interrupt them. I'm just over there listening. Man, some of the stories, dude, them not understanding that it's sad. Parent issues, man. You're 15 years old and you're the man of the house, literally. And visitation time comes. You've just been locked up, and your mother is looking for some money you have stashed to pay a bill, but you're locked up, and she's not asking how to get you out. She's asking like, "Where's that money?"
Yeah,
This is
it's.
mom.
I think that's mainly like a cultural thing. Like, there's not much, and for those kids, there's not much emphasis on school. Like, they're made fun of for excelling in school. Like, why are you getting good grades? You know, could be out here doing this or that. Why are you getting good grades? I think that's like a big,
Yep.
big issue. That's probably the main issue, honestly.
Fish
Because
Tropic says, "Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and finish the thought. Finish the thought."
no, it's good.
Oh, okay.
What are your addictions to saffron food?
One,
Oh,
caffeine. Caffeine. This is an energy drink, coffee, black with cream, whatever, whatever. I have to have. I mean, for one, I'm used to working overnights. I've been working overnights in different places for years. Um, my caffeine is an addiction. Um, my family is an addiction. It's me, my wife, 3 kids. Um, when I get off work or whatever I'm doing, I want to be at home in the midst of my family. My kids, I mean, I'm talking about 26, 20, 18. So it's not like they're babies or anything. You know what I'm saying? But that's an addiction for me. I mean, it really is. But that's also it's an addiction because that's my recharge. That's my energy. That's my, they're my solar panel. They're, for what I have to face out in the world in real life, they recharge me. And this coffee keeps keeps me going also. For me, sometimes when I do these streams, I've been awake 24 hours on my Friday night stream. I took a good nap today because I didn't fight it. I just laid on down around 6 o'clock. I got up at 9:15 or so. But I'm usually up 24 hours when I do this Friday stream
that's
because
crazy.
because I just as important as the people are out here on this side of the camera with me, you guys are also. I feel if I miss a stream, I'm doing an injustice to someone.
That's how I am with uploads. I physically can't not upload something every day. Like, that's how I also was with working out. I can't handle not doing that one thing every single day. I just can't allow that. I can't.
Well, so what are some of your addictions, if possible?
What are some of my addictions?
Yeah. I mean, you could have one, you could not have one at all, but we all have something.
I have no vices. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke anything, do nothing. I don't like, my addiction is just work. Like, I have to be outside of my head. Like, I always have to have something. That's part of the reason why this hobby is so good for me, because there is always something. Like, there's always something going on. Something to tweak, something to work on, something to look into, research, look like, because, yeah, it's just something to stay out of my head. My head's a very interesting place, man.
And that's truly an addiction, though. It is.
Yeah. Work is an addiction for me. Like, I have to be doing something every waking hour of the day. Like, I have to be working towards something.
And if you didn't know, the inner me is the enemy.
Very true. Very true for myself. Very, very true. Yeah.
Because we are some, to coin Bugs Bunny or whoever it was back in the old Looney Tune days. You get it? Looney Tune days. We're some dastardly people.
True.
I mean, we're no good. We're no good. I tell people in a minute, I say, I make an effort to do good because I am no good. I'm no good. Inside of my head is not a real good place to be either. And I tell people, I say, what you see is because I made a concerted effort. For people who aren't spiritual, I'm not gonna say religious, but religious may actually work here because it's religious is doing something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to the point where you forget what the real meaning is. We could throw monotony in there, but religion is sometimes a thing that people use to pull themselves out of their own head. It gives you something else to do. That's why you hear people saying the fish hobby is religion, or racing cars are religion, or they use that term because the term religion does not have to be connected to just spiritual things all the time. Sometimes it's needed to pull you outside of your own head, because I mean, there's a lot of self-harm. There's a lot of harm of loved ones. There's a lot of these things that's due to being inside of your own head and not having something else to do to take you away from that. If you're not talking to a professional counselor, that religion can be your counseling.
I think my work is my counselor, because I use the way I rationalize self-loathing, like self-hatred, depression, stuff like that, like anxiety. I just funnel it into bettering myself. Like, my ego, I have essentially barely any ego. That's part of the reason why I work so hard, because I am nothing, so I want to become something. So that's why every day, dude, I have to be doing something to better myself. Like, I can't not do that. I have to do that.
Yeah. And a truth, there's such a deeper truth in what you just said that some people on here listening right now is not gonna want to hear, but none of us are anything.
It's true.
So every day,
I realized that when I was 16, I was like, what is different? There's nothing separating me from anybody. What can I do to make that separation? Like, what I haven't, I'm working towards it. I'm not there yet, but I will be. I will be.
Yeah. And all of the energy we have does not just belong to us. It's to share. We want to create, you're talking about let's say, electrical circuit. If all people were to share energies, everybody would be good. because it would always be constantly flowing positively.
Yeah.
But we never realized that, you know.
People,
The only thing,
there's just so much ego. That's the basis of like every issue to me is just ego. People are so full of themselves. A lot of people just lack self-awareness. It's really problematic. It's really the root of all issues, I believe. People just don't understand. They just don't know. Like they just don't understand like where they actually sit in the world. They're just a
yeah,
little piece of a puzzle we can't no control over.
exactly.
Nothing we can do over anything. As much as people like to believe they have control and the world revolves around them, it will never do so. It's just not true.
And that is also energy, extra energy that they're wasting, because you have to be cultivating that thought unnaturally within yourself to think that everything revolves around you when you see it does not.
Yeah.
Hey, Fish Tropics, have you been baptized in that supersized bass pond that they have in Bass Pro Shop? That's your church.
Man. Yeah. I can't wait for the day that I can have like a big like predator pond. Like when eventually like I'm getting a house, I'm gonna try to find a house with a pool or something. So then I could just completely convert it to a predator pond. Like arowanas, catfish, like whatever, like I want it all. But I can't have any of it now. But I will in the future.
Right? And you most definitely can. That's the thing about things. That's the thing about things. We'll drive. If we don't drive ourselves for just things, we get there faster.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of people that everything is hinged on the things that they can get, and they never get there because it's like, there's more important things that you're working on, self, family. When you look up, you'll be able to go and get, you know, the big pool and turn it into a pond that I may have to steal when people say, "Hey, what is your dream?" You know, I never thought of as a youngster how I wanted to, because I never bought land. But what's better than you having a big pool
I
in your backyard and you make
I
it
can't
into a
think of any.
pond?
Yeah,
You know,
it's the most convenient scenario. They laid the concrete. It's all lined up. You just gotta make sure there's no chlorine in it, and you're good.
right?
The most convenient
Hey,
scenario.
just sitting there, you know, we have the big subject of cycle, not cycled. What does it take to cycle? Man, just what are you running into cycling your pool? You know what I'm saying?
I really, honestly, I don't really even ever cycle tanks. I just keep it low stock to start, and then eventually, I work my way up. I never really genuinely like try to cycle stuff,
Yeah, there you
but
go.
I've
I was
never
gonna
really
say you don't
started with a
focus
tiny
on it.
tank.
Yeah,
I've
you don't
never like
focus on
started with a really small tank where I needed to like wait because what I was putting into it just going to completely bomb it. But I've also never really slacked off of water changes because when I set a routine, it's just it's just how I operate. As soon as I have that routine, I will never miss the water change. I will never miss an upload. I'll never miss any of that.
it. Yeah, that's like me. I was telling people, I said I've always done fishing cycles, not thinking of cycling per se, but I've always done fishing cycles. I put fish in tanks immediately. I
Yeah, same. I'm too
now
impatient.
in the last few years or so, I always have sponge filters tucked somewhere, either they're inside of DIY
Hmm.
filters. So that's still in a sense instant cycle, but I mean from day one, I set my tank up, put everything in it that I need. Never run the tank 24 hours. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. That's my bad.
It's a lot of people. A lot of people do what we do, and they just don't say it.
Yeah.
It's the
And
reality of
no,
it.
I don't lose fish anymore, but I started out losing fish. But the thing was, I was supposed to be losing fish when I started out because I was learning. But now I still do it the same way. I just realized what I have to do. Yes, low stock, change your water. I've learned those things. That is kind of what made me start using live plants also.
Yeah, makes it
And
easier for sure.
and the horn ward, I love horn ward and floating plants because it's like, hey, boop, 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 boop.
Whoosh,
Yeah,
explode.
as opposed to me doing, let me make sure my substrate, which I use pond dirt now. Like I may buy pebbles or rocks to put on top of, but I always have just dirt, from a local pond, which, in itself,
That
I've
could be
already,
interesting.
I've
There could be
already,
stuff in there. That could be
I've
really
already
cool.
cycled. That's cycled already. That folks never speak on. I'm getting
True.
it from a creek, a pond, or whatever. I mean, everything is already running. It's going already.
Very true. I
So
remember
boom.
what's it called? I remember one time I took these rocks from a creek on the side of this mountain in New Jersey, like this hill. There's a creek running down it. So I took these rocks, set them up in my 120. Everything was good. Went back the next week, couple weeks after I got a 180 and set it up. Did the same exact thing, same method, same spot, same kind of rocks. Put my fish in the tank after with cycled media, the whole nine. I went out fishing with my friend. Came back. I had like 6 silver dollars, bottom up. Whatever these rocks were leaching was just lethal. And it never made sense to me because it's off like a game trail or whatever. Like there's nothing there. There's no contamination from the top of the mountain or at that spot. So I had no idea what it was. Some kind of metal or something just leaked into the tank and was just super, super toxic.
Yeah.
So that's why I probably won't ever really try that again unless it's like a specifically native tank where the whole premise of it is I collect stuff. But
And don't ever use from nature I guess is the term sedentary. Is that what I'm looking for? The stones stuff that are made with sand and dirt. It looks solid, but it's actually still brittle in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
You don't ever really use those because you don't know what has leached into it. Whereas if you have your crystal, like I have some crystal rock and some other type of rock here that you can wash them off over time, wash them, sit them out in the sun, wash them. I mean, you can actually clean those rocks off. But anything that's sedentary or like using hardwood, for for hardscape as opposed to the soft trees. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the difference in the terms, and I was an ag major in school, but that was a whole bunch of years ago. But it has to be hardwood. You don't want to use the soft, pulpy, type of material that's gonna break down, and then it's oh man, you're talking about. Mind you, these are all mistakes that I made in the past that I've learned from. That somebody's probably written it somewhere, made a video or something, but this is some stuff that I've run into myself.
A lot of the time, like if I've done it, I already like if I'm doing it, I've already thought about like the pros and cons, consequences, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. And sometimes, a lot of times, it comes back to bite me, but it's like the way I operate, like I just have to try it to know for sure. Like I never really will take somebody else's experiences and assume that they will be mine. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, maybe it'll work for me. I'll try it out. If it's nothing too crazy,
Yeah.
But
you mean in a sense of if it's a positive thing, you'll try it.
Yeah, if it's got like upside.
Yeah.
Like, it could really go well. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
Could
there's
really
a lot
look
of
cool.
I was almost stereotyping you right there because I know there's a lot of young people. I've heard this said to me. Well, I have to bump my own, I have to bump my own head. And I'm like, actually, no, you don't have to bump your
You
own
don't,
head.
but it's just
But
my preference. I have to give it a shot.
Like, someone like myself I bumped my head for you guys. And the other people in the chat over here, Casual
Yeah.
Aquatic, GRB, we've bumped our heads for you.
That's people. I have that experience because like I'm in fish groups and like some of the older people will get so frustrated with me, but I was like, you don't understand. I need to know. I need to figure it out myself.
Oh, that's ended so badly for so many.
Yeah. It hasn't ended horribly for me yet, but
Woo.
not to say it won't in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Just keep it tucked in the back of your mind. At some point in time, I may need to trust some of the people that has already laid the foundation for me. Because oh man, see what happens is the older you get, the broader jumps you take, and the risk becomes bigger, and it's no holds barred after that.
If the downside's like too great, then I won't just go with what I want to do. I'll just take advice. But if it's not that serious, I'll be like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and one of the most important parts of life is still learning. And like you said, I'm glad you pointed out, looking at the upside and the downside. Because I mean, a lot of stuff I'm speaking on is like really, really crazy stuff that people are telling me, they have to bump their own heads. And I'm like, no,
Like
no,
inmates, like their charges are
yes,
like, I
you're
had to see.
you're looking at little Ezel, the crackhead in the neighborhood
Yeah.
who has lost everything, and you're telling me that, well, if you try crack, it might not get
No.
you. Come on.
See,
That's
something
not
like that, no shot, no shot.
okay. All right, I'm like, no, that's not something that you want to roll the dice on.
Like
Don't
so
do
many
that.
times it's like, man, like, oh, that guy did this. I wish I could. And it's like, no, but this, that, the other thing. I'm like, all right,
Hey,
I'll just chill out on that.
have you seen those people a little while back? There was this fad of jumping cars, like the cars coming, full speed, and they're like, "Hey, I play basketball. I can jump this car." Oh man, see,
No,
that's
no, no,
one
no,
of,
no, no.
hey, I can do it. He didn't make it, but I have a 45,
I think
inch.
that's just a symptom of being a guy. Like, oh, he couldn't
Oh,
do it. I could do it.
hey,
That's just being a guy, honestly.
hey, God bless my mama, cause I was never that guy
When I was
ever.
younger, I was. If someone's like, oh, I bet you can't do that, I'd be like, oh, really? Okay. But
Oh.
now I'm smarter. I've learned from getting burned too many times like that.
I've taken chances that there never seemed to be a downside to, but it was still crazy. Like I used to ride bulls.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, I grew up in the country. A lot of people I looked up to. Hey, man, this is Lane Frost, Tom Murray. Tough Heatman. These guys ride bulls, man. That's off the hook, man. You know,
You never.
those types of things that I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not like the crazy stuff that could end my life, which that can, but nobody nowhere made it seem like it was,
It's not a bad idea. They're
yeah,
like, yeah,
nobody,
go for it.
yeah, hey man, yeah, hey, we're all
Hell yeah,
doing it out
brother.
here. Something like, hey man, that looks real cool. People used to think I was crazy when I told them I'd rather get on a bull than a horse. And they'd be like, man,
Horses
what you
scare
mean?
me.
You see people riding horses all the time. I said, well, let me tell you about that bull. Before I got on him, I knew he didn't want me on him. I understand the way he did his business. Fall off, get up, get away. If you don't get up fast enough, he's gonna get you. Now, that horse is like one of those people who speak it with forked tongue. Look, the horse is like nice and like, hey, come on, we're gonna just go gently down this trail. The horse is trying to bite you. He's trying to kick you. He's trying to
Throw
flip
you off his
over.
back.
Look, flip over on you and smash you with the saddle. But he didn't warn you. He didn't warn nobody. That
Two-Face.
was the difference. So I'm like, I said, hey, I know what a bull wants to do. So we have an understanding. That horse, we don't have no understanding. I'm confused. I don't know what he's thinking. He don't know what I'm thinking. We can't even get together like that.
Horses just freak me out because they're such an intimidating animal. It's like like almost, isn't it like 1,200 pounds of just pure muscle? They're grainy, like they're just straight muscle. Like, what
Yep.
am I? I have no business being around this beast. Like, what am I doing with that? Appreciate you, Casual Aquatics. I'm pretty sure I know your name. Damn, I'm forgetting it. But yeah, I am very optimistic just because what do I have to lose? Like, I literally have nothing to lose. Like, I just have to try. I have nothing to lose. We all go out the same way. Like, I have nothing to lose. Like,
hey, I got to 49 years old by believing there's some things I have to lose.
I mean, I feel like in this time of my life, being in like my college years, I have nothing to lose. Like, so many people are out there in my age bracket doing way less productive, way more cancerous, just like worse things than I could have ever possibly done in this hobby. Or
Big J.
You know, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't believe there's anything for me to lose right now.
I'm glad I started out on my, well, no, that's not right. When I started out back in the day, I had whatever kind of fish I could get hold to. But in the last 2 years, when I took this, taking it seriously, I'm glad I started out with feeder guppies. So I didn't have anything to lose technically at that time.
True.
All I got was feeder guppies. I didn't buy nothing else, man. I was at the feeder guppy tank 3 times a week.
It's pretty cool.
Let me get that one and that one. That's all, sir? Yes. Ring me up, 50 cents. All right.
Feeder guppies are super cheap. There was this one guy who would give me, I think it was like 8 cents a feeder guppy or something, and I would buy like a couple hundred for my bass. But yeah, I started off with just a largemouth bass, bluegill, and then I got an Oscar. From that Oscar, I think I got a jaguar catfish because they stayed smaller and I knew I'd be able to keep it. And then I got a planet tank. And then, long story short, I'm in all little niches of the hobby, all little subsets.
Right. Hey, y'all, who's got some questions? Put some questions in the chat. Put some questions in there for us. I'm at 1 hour and 22. And y'all know here lately, I've been trying to burn off when I hit 1 hour. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. Energy drink got me percolating over here. But yeah, y'all throw some questions out there. Big J, what's going on, man? I missed them water changes, man. What's happening? But yeah, where do you see yourself in the next year in the hobby?
Hopefully, I have to buy the EIN number so I can make an account with wholesalers. So hopefully in a year's time, I'm just living off of coral sales because that would be really cool. I'll be monetized by then. Hopefully one day get a big collab from somebody big because with an hour's radius, hour 30 radius of me, but all the biggest like fish keeping channels live here, like Catch 'em All, Paul Cafaro, Joyce, like all those big guys are around. Blacktip H, the fishing channels, like there's easily like 20 million subs. It's just, I'm hoping I have a body of work big enough, good enough that when I do get that shot, it lasts. Like I don't have like a huge spike and then it's just huge spike, continue growing because I have 500, 1,000 quality videos worth watching.
Yeah, you know, as cliche as this is, and I use that term because we make things cliche that are actual 100% facts. So they shouldn't be considered cliche, but a foundation must be built for a house first. You can make the house as big as you want it, but you have to prepare a foundation that's big enough for the house you're trying to build. Sure. And some of those people that you have mentioned, flying by the seat of their pants is a good way to describe it. If you have enough energy to keep flying by the seat of your pants, it'll look good for a long time.
Sure. If I had like their sub counts, I would still. I don't understand why the people with those sub counts don't upload every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they just get so content they don't care anymore. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I've already hit my goals.
That happens to a
What's the
lot.
point?
That happens to a
I'd like
lot.
to believe I'm gonna get to that point and continue keeping on. I don't think I'm just not built that way. I just don't think like that.
The
Because as
good
soon as I
part,
hit, I'm like never satisfied. As soon as I hit that number, okay, let's go for
yeah.
next one. You know what I mean?
The good part about this side of the hobby is all you have to do is just continue like you start.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're still doing that every day. So you just
True.
continue like you start. Don't really be concerned with people saying, "Oh man, I've seen that," or how does it get old? If you're a fish keeper and you're watching fish keepers, you already know what fish keepers do and what they keep.
Yeah.
You can sprinkle a little spice in there. Like if you can move around, visit, LFSs, those are always good things. Going collecting, those are always good things. If that's what you do, sprinkle that in there. I'm trying to make myself, move around a little bit more, but my whole start, my whole reason is what I'm doing now. This is
Right.
this is what I do every day, period.
This is your bread and butter.
This is what I do. I talk to people, I uplift people, period. This is just giving me an opportunity to talk to a whole lot more people. You might as well say it's like a dream come true. Whereas I couldn't, how crazy would I look, at the corner store trying to talk to everybody at every gas pump while I'm pumping gas.
They try to think you're begging for money. They'd be
Yeah,
like, "What?"
that guy's crazy over there. So I lose footing what I'm trying to do for them as well as myself would not be as effective because I just look like a crazy man.
Very true.
Whereas right here, everybody who comes in, who finds out later or whatever, it's almost like I'm speaking to that one individual person. We're all just in the same room. Or
True.
I'm in a church, I'm at the podium with a microphone. I'm speaking to everybody, but we're all there, with the same mindset. If you come here, you know what I'm about.
I want to keep it. I don't know if I would ever like get into. I don't know if I'd ever really change too much from what I'm doing now. Like, I pretty much just plan on continually just sharing what I'm doing. Like, I don't know if I'll ever try to do what other people do. Or, I don't know. I just try to keep it as genuine as possible.
Yep.
Because I don't like the front. I don't really, I'm a pretty humble, down to earth type of guy. I'm not really flamboyant. Like, I don't really flex too much. It's just what it is what it is.
Yep. I can remember there was a time where I was looking at like a whole bunch of different types of YouTube people. And when the challenges were like, I mean, I guess they're still doing it. I don't know, because it's been a few years that I don't look at those other channels anymore. But the challenges, people trying to keep up with each other with the different challenges and people getting sick and going to the hospital and catching on fire. And I mean, just crazy stuff because they're trying to keep up with the next person. But remembering how their channel may have started and they end up losing themselves 100%, they forget what they were doing. They forget why they started. They forget everything and try to become somebody else and then disappear.
Yeah. A lot of
You know,
people, like, those people have like those off switches where like they'll be like us off camera, and then as soon as somebody pulls out a camera, they're like, "Oh, look at me." I just don't have that off
yeah,
switch.
yeah.
I'm just not
Turn
feeling
up.
that. The way I'm feeling when I have that camera on is the Rob you're gonna get. I can be it literally whatever it is that day. That's what you're getting. Like earlier today, when I was recording at the canal, I was making fun of iguanas, like bullying iguanas, just because I was in a good mood, just clowning around. trying to feed ducks hot dogs. Like, it was just the mood I was in. And then other videos, it's very like dry because I'm just not in the mood. I'm just angry at the world type thing. Like, I'm a day-to-day kind of guy. It's just what it is what it is. I don't know.
Right. I hear
It's
you,
just,
man. We'll be able to see, like, especially with at your age, being you is going to be so important in the sense of we'll be able to see you grow, we'll be able to see you evolve,
I
and you're allowed room to change then because we see it happening.
yeah, that's why I like having the channel because I can document one of the last most vital parts of my life. Like, I have like an immense fear of what's next. So being able to essentially immortalize myself and be able to look back on these times, look back at these fish, everything with me at this point will live on forever. It's a really cool concept to me.
Right, right, right.
And yeah, it's going to be really cool. I mean, hopefully I don't switch up. I don't lose who I am. I don't really see myself doing that though, because I've never been like the kid that's always got to be like partying or doing stuff for popularity. I just never been like a hype beast kind of person. Like, I've just never cared. I've never cared about stuff like that.
Yep.
It just doesn't interest me at all. So
Most definitely.
I don't think I don't think I would ever switch up like that. But I won't know until I'm there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you are aware of it being a real situation now. So you have a better chance of it not happening.
Fair, fair.
You know, I'm the guy who, I mean, I grew up in a small town where there were very few black cowboys. So, you know, you have Justin brand cowboy boots. Um, One thing you can say about a boot is boots are very functional, but then when you go to speaking of fashion, like in any other fashion, something can catch a wave. You know, the term we use now, and it goes. But being in that type of lifestyle, you can still get use out of what you buy. You don't have to worry about it breaking down. Now they have something they call roper boots. They're lace up and they have this little tassel on the front or whatever. You know, they were the thing. You know, I have a pair now with no sole under them. My wife, don't like me to wear because there's hardly any sole under these boots. But they were super popular at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had these boots for 20 plus years. Plus, I've never owned a Jordan.
Same. Yeah.
Probably could have bought some, but I
I'm
was
like
like,
that too. Yeah.
no, I'm good. Why? Explain it to
I
me.
will wear a pair of shoes until my toes are hanging out. Like, I just don't care. Like, I'm not very materialistic in that sense. Yes, I want nice things, but I just don't necessarily care for those kind of things that bring status. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You're spending all that money for what? You know what I mean?
And guess what? You can still do some of the same things, look just as good, but doing it in a smart way. I'm let's say not just the fashion, let's say uh equipment, vehicles. I've always been the guy who, hey man, those those new tablet things that came out with are really cool. I wouldn't mind having one myself and acquire them. Like somebody over here is upgrading to a newer one, and hey, do you want? Yes, I'll take it.
I
I
feel it.
own one now. Look, I own one now. I had a car. I had a 1990 Lincoln Town car. Put limo. It was silver. Had black interior. I put limo tint on it. Um, I had some 13-inch Supreme old school low rider wheels, Supreme wheels on it. Some little white walls. Now, when this car was put together and I'm riding around, it looked just as good as those people that were spending all this money.
Yeah.
Them not realizing I had made some kind of trade and got the wheels, the tires. Who knows how I got them? The car itself had 200,000 miles on it. It was just very well kept. The car cost $2,000.
Still.
So when I put it together, like, oh man, hey, essay. Till I roll the window down, it's like, hey, you know, essay. But that is what I liked, the old lowriders and things like that. But I put it together just like I do everything. Yes, mine looks just as good as yours. I have it. I'm good. But I didn't break myself because it made no sense to do so.
True. True.
I mean, people will make you commit suicide without knowing it, trying to keep up with them.
I never play those games. I noticed that, like, for real, the keeping up with the Joneses down here, like in South Florida. So my job, I worked with this Christmas decoration company. In South Florida, they don't have real snows, but they still put up lights. So we'd go up on the trees with ladders and a staple gun and staple the lights to the tree. But you notice that in these like uber rich neighborhoods in South Florida, like in Fort Lauderdale, it's crazy. Like if you see one Tesla, there will be five. Like one guy gets lights, there will be another person, 10 people, as we're working, pulling up, asking like, "Hey, you want to do this property down the street?" It's very real, and I never saw that until I came down here. It's very interesting. It's very weird.
And I'm in Houston, so I don't know if you know anything about Houston, have heard anything about. What's up, Fishy Biz? Houston is, put it this way, stars, uh,
Big basketball team, right? Houston Rockets.
Houston Rockets. You got artists, movie stars. I mean, people move to Houston, and there's these particular neighborhoods that, if you could think of them, they probably have a house in Houston, and you could just be walking in Walmart and say, "Hey, isn't that so and so from?" I mean, it happens here. LA has a whole nother image. They're in LA working and making the money, and they come to Houston to enjoy the money.
Right.
Now, with that being said, though, all of those people are here, and you talking about keeping up. Oh man, yes, they play the keeping up with the Joneses game here.
I never understood that. Like, if I was that house, like, if I was a homeowner in those neighborhoods, and my wife was like, "Rob, we need to get this, that, and other thing. The people down the street got it." I'd be like, "For what? Like, what do you mean? Why do I need to drop this much more money for something we don't need?" I don't know. Those games just never made sense to me. I don't think they ever will.
I mean, hey, to each his own. I really and truly, um, it sounds, it doesn't sound like it because I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, but I really don't judge people individually. So I don't want anybody to think that, oh, I bash no. A lot of these conversations don't even occupy my time most of the time, except if something comes across my ticker, I'm gonna dedicate some thought to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have an opinion on it, regardless.
That's his nature. That's his
Yeah.
natural instinct.
So if it comes up, yeah, I'll tell you how I feel about it. But it doesn't mean that I'm like looking down on the people. You do you.
I mean,
You
at
know,
the end of the day, they're making way more than I ever did. So, I mean, they're doing
yeah,
their thing.
I like my steak, well done. I have eaten some medium, but I don't want it raw. But if you're eating yours rare, hey, do your thing. I'm not mad at you. I just won't be eating it rare. That's,
True.
if you want to rock out in your J's and you don't want to get them creased and you're having to walk funny because you want them to look brand new 5 years from now, hey, do you? I'm not sure.
True.
Oh,
Casual
yeah, man.
aquatic.
Hey, what fish you don't have that's legal that you want to get?
I want to get. I don't know if it's a different subspecies of arapaima, but there's these arapaimas in Brazil. I saw a video of a guy catching one, and it had incredible color. It was nothing like the one I've ever seen. It had like very vibrant orange running down the side. Uh, it was almost black on the back. It was super, super cool. But I also want red tail. I want all the catfishes. I really just want to get most of the monster fish because they're impressive. The size, like the tigerfish, intimidate. I don't know. You know what's interesting? Arapaimas. I've been to predatory fins before, and whenever I go to the display, I always stand like a couple feet away from the actual acrylic because something about the presence of the arapaima, it just feels like it could just punch straight through the acrylic. It just looks like such a powerful animal. Wow, but yeah, it just looks so powerful. It's almost the size of me. I'm pretty sure it might actually be bigger than me. I'm pretty sure they're
No,
almost
it's not
6
bigger than
feet.
you. Longer. They can get maybe your length, but yeah, I mean, man, but it's a torpedo. I mean,
Yeah,
arapaima is a torpedo.
I don't care how thick that acrylic is. It looks like it'll break it.
Yeah,
Like it
it's a
is
torpedo.
crazy. It is crazy.
No fish tropic. My light has no price. At Casual Aquatics, I had to move into an apartment, so I'm limited on any tank size dreams. I'm on the second floor, so me just walking up here is already bad enough. I
Yeah,
sure don't want to drag no big tank up here, but I want to get like we were speaking of those frag tanks, the low boys. I
low
have
boys are nice.
I have a very good acquaintance who actually builds tanks. So what I want to start doing, like you saw my 20-gallon longs, the rims off of them, and I did them myself because I just like the look and that footprint. Well, I'm going to start like marking up tanks of different shapes. All are going to be short, but have wide footprints. They may only be 10 gallons, 15 gallons, 20 gallons, but I want them to cover a lot of area because the way these tanks are done here, I want to have like basically looking like underwater jungles, taking up a whole bunch of space, but not
They
really a
look
bunch of
cool.
water. Yeah, not even a bunch of water, but it's taking a bunch of space, man. I can have, since these particular bedders here and a few more that I want to acquire, they have, they can actually live in colony, you know, types of environments. They can be around each other. And I want to just create this habitat. Like I inevitably will have to sell them periodically because they're gonna breed. I don't
Yeah,
want to stop that. But and because they're a niche type of fish, there's gonna always be somebody, and it's not like I'm gonna even be trying to get rich off of them. So there'll always be a hobbyist that I'm gonna be able to bless, with them. But I want to be able to sit back like this desk that these 220 longs on. If I could have a tank that's the whole size of this desk, but may only be 7 or 8 inches tall.
I'm
With
pretty sure Aquatic Guru. He's a YouTuber. I don't know if he made a video on it yet, but he has a 10-gallon built like that. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find one, or maybe even like a 30-gallon low because it won't be as heavy as a 50. But I think it's a really similar footprint.
okay. Yeah, man, I wanna move away from these standard tens. I want to move away from all of these if possible and get, wide footprint, short tanks, man. I love it, man. My little jungles in here, hey. See, I'm the guy that me looking at these tanks, I am a little boy, you know, at my buddy's house in the country, waiting around in ponds, looking at this.
Yeah,
That's where I
yeah, that's
started.
definitely true.
Yeah, that's where I started. This is what I was looking at. We'd have our little snorkels and our goggles on, laying down in the creeks and stuff, just looking up under the shelves. Yeah, snakes and stuff could be coming out of there, but I didn't think of that. But this is what I saw. So I mean, like, there's a lot of people I think would question. You have the ones who like the beautiful, fluffy, frilly. I,
Unrealistic type.
I'm a native. I'm a native fish dude. I actually got on that wave for a second or two. I did. Where I'm like, man, I could sell these guppies here or this type of native fish, as muted as a lot of them are. It's the life. Imagine you living underneath this water and not having to come out. You can breathe under there. That's crazy to me.
It looks very cool. I do really like native tanks as well. I really want to get hardscape and plant this tank better that I got these native fish in because it could look very cool. But I also don't want to mess around with any gators. So I've been trying to not go in the water, but because really it's very possible for me to just get snatched up and drowned by a murder lizard.
Yeah, I hear you. Murder lizard. Like the trash pounders.
Yeah, it's like, what would you do at that point? It grabs your arm, and then what? You can't do much. They got armor. Your knife isn't gonna penetrate anything. Like if you shoot it, you gotta hope you hit it in the head, like
In the right place in the
in the right place, like right on the skull
head.
cap thing they got. Like, and
Yeah.
even then, like good luck, you might miss.
Uh,
Might be too late. I don't know.
I
I just
love
don't really want to mess with gators at all.
I love alligator nuggets, but no, I'm not getting out there and fooling with no no,
No,
not me doing it. No, no, I'm not doing it.
I see videos of people like jumping in the Everglades in the water. No, 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 no.
Yeah,
I'll look from a distance.
I've had caimans, Nile monitors, oh man, snakes of all kinds. I've had all of those things. But they were, let me see, my biggest caiman may have been 2 feet. The Nile monitor, he may have been right at 2 feet, but I mean, because he was a lizard, he was a smaller, the body was still small because he was so much tail. But yeah, no, that 2 feet was good enough for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was good
and
enough.
bro, I'm good on that. Like,
I,
oh my
I remember
god.
one time, since he was so small, I said I want to test the bite out. And the glove that bull riders use, extremely, extremely thick leather. This leather is so thick, it keeps your fingers from being pulled off, when you ride. I mean, just super thick. Well, a gator whose head is only this big,
Punch straight through it.
still, them little teeth still go through that leather.
I
Hey,
really want a caiman actually. Caimans are I could do a caiman. I just can't do an American alligator because those they get big.
it still feels like your hand was slammed in a door.
That's crazy. I might have to
Did,
test that out in the future when I get
didn't
home.
break, it didn't break anything or even come close, but it was just like, you know, oh man, oh.
Like a big mouse trap.
Yeah, I would say that was real. That was real. So I know what not to do again. And let me tell the youngsters, don't put your hand in your caiman's mouth.
We'll see what happens.
I did that for you.
That one I definitely got to try out on my own because that sounds like an experience.
Yeah, and it would be, how can I put it? That experience is kind of what make me seem like a hypocrite, because the fact that it really actually, mind you, I told you what kind of glove I had on. It didn't hurt. I'm in a precarious position, explaining that to you. It was more of a surprise because the teeth were so small, they came through, but they didn't puncture my skin. The slam in the jaws was hard, and it was, like I say, the surprise was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But the glove, I have to reiterate this glove, people. Do not do not try it with just your hand. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go just like straight with a hand, but I mean, if I have one of those gloves laying around, We'll
Just
see.
laying around. Hey, Lonnie, I have lived a interesting life. Yes, I'm a humble cat that don't really over overreach a lot per se. But as a youngster, I tried a lot of stuff, man. I've moved around, I've seen a lot of things. My ADHD has allowed me to be parts of conversations that weren't mine, but I could hear it and take it in. Man, I could tell a bunch of stories, man. I mean, that's why I like my platform here so much because nobody is a stranger to me, even though they're strangers. I just like to sit, man, and as they say in Hawaii, um, and Australia, a lot of them use these terms of talking story. You know, I like to just sit and just look into someone's head, to get the real person, the real interests, loves, likes. Um, I'm also here for the uplifting the spirit, energizing the soul. But I mean, that's not all that I'm here for. I don't want to be, I don't want to be sad all the time myself either. Hey, I want to hear the good stuff, the interesting stuff. And I think all of us, to some extent, really enjoy that. The campfire type conversations.
Hmm.
Uh, just in life in general, it is what it is my favorite term. Um, I could apply that to my side of the hobby. I can still say it is what it is because there's things that I do or there's things that you do that somebody else may not or may not even agree with. But if it actually works, I mean works in a sense of it's fair to these animals, um, they're being taken care of well because that's at the end of the day, that is what we are supposed to be doing.
True.
So I guess it is what it is for me across the board in everything my favorite term.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know, bro. I mean, maybe just play with the cards you're dealt. Like, just make the best out of what you got. If you can only keep nano tanks or something, just do whatever you want with those. Do the best you can with those. If you can get pools, ponds, massive pieces of land, go all out. I don't know. Just play with the cards you're dealt.
Good one though. That's a good one. I like that one. I like that one because I live that too. Yeah, that's a good one.
You know
That's
who's
good.
somebody interesting you should get on here one time? DW is Darius. He
Hey,
probably
hey,
spawned on
hey,
Instagram.
hey.
He's such an interest. I feel like he could be such an interesting person.
No,
He's
I've been talking to him quite a bit lately.
I feel like it might be hard to get him like on the camera because he's never shown his face. But
Yeah,
I could just
yeah.
from the way he carries himself, I could tell he's
He
pretty
has.
similar.
He
I like.
has. He has shown his face a little bit. Let me show you something. You see the hold on, let me see. Can I do it? Uh I need to try to flip the camera around, but hey. Can you see the Bacopa in the back of this tank?
Yeah.
I won those in one of his video comment sections. And he sent them to me. And that had to be like two years ago. Just watched the video and he was taking plants from his pond outside and he was like, hey, comment this, blah, 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 a lucky fan can win some Bacopa. And they still kicking 2 years later. He's one of my favorite YouTube people.
Same.
Literally.
Same.
Literally.
That's how part of the way I got into the hobby. And the thing is, I feel like he could be so much bigger if he uploaded more. Like He doesn't even need to show his face because his tanks and setups are just so impressive and cool. When I'm back in New Jersey, I'm going to try to collab with him. I wish I had my channel when I was still living up there. But I don't know. He seems like a very cool dude. I
Yeah,
feel like
I'm trying to conversate with him because like no camera is not his like him. That's not his thing.
yeah,
But you know, I call this Friday night stream um an extended hug. I call it the fishy den because you know you sit in the den with your friends in your house. You know, you don't just allow anybody in your house. You know,
yeah.
you sit in the den. It's a comfortable place, and I want this to be a comfortable place. So I'm gonna say today that I'm gonna have him on, and that's not coming from no narcissistic spot or anything. I just know, like I told him, even for his fans, I was like, man, it could be a really big thing.
He
Not that
could.
you're, yeah,
His
not that
setups
you're
are
necessarily
so
trying to,
sick, bro.
you know, not trying to sub up more. Not even that. Just, man, this hobby is so big, man. I mean, hey, we're out here. You know, we're out
Yeah,
here. We're out here. And
he's a
yes,
very cool dude.
casual aquatics. Yeah, I want you to ask these questions, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, everybody that's going to bed. Thank y'all for coming through. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, 1:30, I got another one coming. Armored Cat Aquatics, LLC. It's going to be on tomorrow. Now, casual aquatics, yes. Depending on a person's personality, how you grew up, maybe even your culture, um, almost anything could be a good pet for anybody.
Yeah,
I mean, you could be the first person to have a particular type of animal as a pet. Nobody may even follow you in doing it, but there was something that made it work with you and that particular choice. So, I mean, I'm never surprised when somebody say, hey, I have a so-and-so, so-and-so. It may it may make me nervous or squeamish or whatever, but I'm not really surprised by anything somebody may actually have as a pet. I mean, people should have like snakeheads as pets. I mean, but you know, they make them illegal, unfortunately. But I mean, people
yeah.
should be able to. These are animals, man. These are animals. People should be able to.
The
Hey,
snakehead thing drives me insane because it's like the war on drugs. You're never gonna stop. That I've seen in the year I've lived in Florida, I've easily seen 1,000. Between all the spawns I found and stumbled across and the adults, there's thousands. Might as well just lift the bar, let hobbyists collect them. You know, do them right, raise them out. You know, because that would honestly potentially even help the environment. You're taking out breeding uh, animals and taking them out of the environment. I don't know how much of an impact, but obviously nothing they're doing is working because I've seen thousands. Like
yeah, no, they're not going nowhere.
it's
Asian arowana. Let people have Asian arowanas if they want them, man.
please, bro, please. They
Hey,
got literal farms. Farms. They, they have they have farms. Like why? Oh my god.
even even the people with the Dubai cockroaches, it won't be me. But if you want a Dubai cockroach or roly poly, do your thing.
The Asian arowana thing drives me crazy though, because even if it's like a supply and demand thing, they have farms, captive bred. If they can't afford it, they won't buy it. So like, who cares? Like, just save up. You know, eventually you'll get it, and it's the availability is there. Like they can produce the amount they need to. Like I don't even understand it. Some of these bigger channels need to get on that. Like actually try to get the legislation changed. Get CITES to recognize them as non-endangered or wherever they're classed at. Because it's really ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. Drives me insane. Yeah, I mean, if they could, I think I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah, a lot of it would be crazy if they got released in South Florida. Oh my God, I'd have a field day. That would be incredible. They would probably be illegal in Florida regardless.
Just sitting here and looking over at my substrate. That right there, people, is you talking about an established tank that's been rolling for a minute.
Yeah, I like that tank.
That looks like the Earth's core right there under your palm. I got sedentary layers. I got everything going on.
Yeah, native tanks are cool, man.
And you see the little pile of dirt? Those little piles of dirt get bigger, they get smaller. Something is in them digging that, but I haven't seen them yet. All around. See them?
That's what I was wondering. Like when you take up that soil from the ponds, like what else? Like what other little microfauna are you taking in that could be really, really cool?
Yeah, somebody's doing that. And if you see, my filter is over there. So it's not a current that's turning this over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I tried starting an ecosphere with a mason jar. It's either half a gallon or a gallon. And I collected substrate from the canal, all that. But the gases that built up in it popped the seal and crashed it. So I gotta get a better jar for it. But nature's crazy. There's this, yeah. I mean, being in canal, like South Florida is so convenient with all the canals.
I like the concept. Am I back? Here we go. I like the concept of them, but I need to look into them a little bit more because I always want a critter and stuff. I don't want to just say substrate, plant, close it up, let it. I want something in it. There has to be
You could potentially put shrimp in it, but it would be I think it could work, but you'd probably, I don't know, because if you put breeding colony
feed bloodworms, but they're frozen. Keep talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, but if you put like a breeding colony of shrimp in there, I'm pretty sure eventually when they start to molt and reproduce, die off, that would cause some pretty significant nutrient issues, and they'd probably die and crash. They're way more finicky because of the very little amount of water. So I think you're kind of forced to actually just do nothing with it.
Yeah.
But I could do a saltwater one. I could go out. Like I think the beach is only 20 miles away.
I seen somebody with a saltwater one, but a saltwater one would be kind of boring. Like,
yeah,
all you have is algae because you can't keep kelp in it.
Yeah, you're right. I want to try to put macroalgae in my 120, like in the back, like macroalgae in the back, and then the full-on coral reef in the front. But the macroalgae will also consume calcium and other trace elements, so I got to wait till I understand that, and it can actually dose that.
Okay. But yeah, casual aquatics. No, I feed bloodworms, but it's all frozen. And that's been doing that for a while. My white worms they won't live like in that much water. I had black worms in one of these tins over here. Unless they made their way over there, but I never see them come out. Well, I mean, and black worms come out and they wiggle and eat food out of the water.
That would be something really cool to supplement your tanks with.
Yeah, but I could probably do it. Well, you know what now though? You saying that because those two 20 longs weren't set up like this when I had the black worms, with the extra catapa leaves and rocks.
Mm.
There's enough cover in here for those worms to live and colonize, still be eaten, but there still be worms turning over. You know what I'm saying?
I think that would be a really cool. I've always wanted to do that, actually. Just a complete natural set, worms, the tridivores, things to eat, all that kind of stuff other than snails. Because that would also just provide a constant food source.
Yep.
Eventually, it could probably become self-sufficient.
Because when I did it the first time, it was in one of these tins, man, and there was a lot of them. It was a good idea, but there was no way for them to get away, and man, them
They
betters
got
just
wiped
went
out.
through. They went through and just ate everybody. They picked everything out of that. It was no,
That
it
would be
was no
really cool,
making it.
though. That would be super, super cool.
Yeah, I didn't mention these, but I have a million convict cichlid fry down here. If anybody wants some convicts,
I'm good on that. I don't even know
man,
what I would do with them.
I really like them. I mean, it's just crazy how the breeding, oh man.
I've never had a paracon fix, but I don't think I'd ever want to. Even just watching DWS Darius's tanks and everybody else who keeps them, it seems like a problem. Like I don't know what I would do with all that fish, like all those. What's his face? Off the Deep End Aquatics has a convict thing going on, in his, I think it's a 300 gallon or it's a 260 or something, where he's got like 5 different pairs in it. Just because it started off with a 1 pair, and now there's 5 different breeding pairs.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
Actually,
I
that
don't
could
have
be.
anybody that could really eat them, but because my betters don't really like chase stuff down. Like fry have a tendency to be safe with them unless they just get really close to them. They'll get them, but for the
Yeah,
most part, they're not worried about
I
fish
was
because they
gonna.
know.
I was gonna say maybe try to use them as like live bait when you go fishing, but they could probably do pretty well out in Texas. So
But yeah,
scratch that idea.
I haven't fished in like me fishing. I went from fishing every day to in the last 20 years. I'm 22 years. I may have fished twice.
I really haven't fished most of the last year. I only really started up again with the cast net because it's really fun to like actually physically see the fish and then just throw a net at it and have a really high likelihood of catching it rather than constantly dancing a lure and finessing in front of it and not catching it. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
You could catch so many gars. I caught so many gars with that cast net.
So casual aquatics. Hey, casual aquatics. Speaking of that, these fry right here. I had a pair of convicts I bought up the street at uh Pets, not Pet Supermarket, Pet Supplies Plus. Saw these convicts. Man, I really like these two. These fish. I don't know. Fish keepers, hobbyists, we're so hard headed. Chubbs, what's going on? We're so hard headed, man. We got to get pairs. When okay, it'll be okay to get 2 males or 2 females, but we just have to have a pair. We think that's how it's supposed to be. So I got these 2 convicts, and they were, man, 2.5 inches. They weren't big enough, I thought, to be trying to breed. I had 4 venustas. They were about 2.5 inches long. 2 jaguar cichlids. What else did I have? And those 2 convicts. They were all chilling. Well, one day I went out and everybody, it was a 55-gallon tote in my garage. Everybody was pushed over to 5, let's say 5 gallons of water. Those 2 convicts had taken over the whole middle of this tote.
I saw
And this ball of fry was rolling through. And I'm like, oh man, you mean
no, they won. What's it
I
called?
swear they wasn't big enough to breed, but I guess they were big enough to breed.
There's a guy in this fish group I'm in. His name is Brian, and he sent a picture of this pair of convicts. I think they're like 1/2 inch, 1 inch, or something crazy, or like 1 1/4 inch, something really tiny, and they spawn still. Those things are on X Games mode. Like I don't know how are they. I got shocked when my RTMs bred for the first time because they were still 2.5 inches like your convicts were. and they spawn. And I was like, I saw the egg pile, but I had never bred a fish before, so I was like super confused. And then a couple seconds later, I was like, oh snap, those are baby fish, and that's really cool. But RTM cichlids are really, really cool. I think they might honestly be one of my favorite cichlids right now.
Yeah, Casual Aquatics say his convicts are only 2 and 3 inches long. Ah! Man. And unfortunately, look, I've been wanting, look, Jaguar cichlids were my dream fish, right? And I was gifted 2 Jaguar cichlids during the time we had the big freeze. I had lost a whole colony of endlers, and it's on Texas Fish Keepers on Facebook. They had a whole thread where people were just donating fish, man. You know, the people that lost fish during the snowstorm, they were just donating fish. So I was like, man, you know, hey, I see you have some Jaguars. Can I? He was like, yes. I went and picked up 2. Man, I over the moon, man, until I had to make this move, and it's like apartment, not gonna have a big tank.
So cool. I had a group of 9, and they ended up overnight. They had developed this Epistolis, but at the time I thought it was ick, so I dressed it like I would ick. And I did a water change too big, stressed them out, and it just pushed them over the edge. But they were genuinely the nicest jaguars I've ever seen. I've actually seen some in the wild here. I actually caught 2 little guys, but I didn't put them in this tank. If I catch them again, though, I'm going to put them in this tank because they're super cool. And I think the peacock bass will do fine with them. But jaguars are so cool. DW's there has some really nice jaguars. Oh, my God. His jaguars are units. It's crazy.
I like that big tank he built, man.
Yeah, I want one of those so bad. That plywood tank is crazy.
Hey, Chubbs, what fish you got? What you talking about?
Damn.
I could probably be on the outside looking in, you know, seeing what you and Griffin do, because Griffin be breeding up fish over there. Griffin is the reason I got, no, Griffin, I'm lying on you. My fault. Big J is the reason I have these millions of convict fry over here as it is. Watching those water changes I asked him about earlier. Man. Hey, them golden top minnows, man. I still need to make that trip, man. I really do. I really do. Because we looking like we starting to try to open up to some extent. I really do need to make that trip.
I don't think I've ever heard of golden top minnows.
Golden top minnows. Yep. They're like a killifish. I'm not sure if they are actually killifish.
I wish like I could find some.
My best one, do you know what least killifish look like?
Kind of, yeah. I think I do.
Okay, do you know what golden wonder killifish look like?
Pretty confident.
To me, it's like least killifish and golden wonder killifish got together and made a baby. That's what a golden top minnow looks like to me.
Aren't there some species native to Florida?
Well, the least killifish are native to Florida. Now, they're not true killifish. I mean, I need to go ahead and do the research and stop playing around so I can tell the people the meaning of the killie in killifish, because I did read it before and I forgot what it actually means. You have the actual killifish, which the term still means the same thing. That's why that fish is a killifish. The least killifish are not killifish, but whatever the meaning of the name is, that's why they're called that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I need to know so I can be able to tell people on the stream and stop playing.
Because I could maybe even try to catch some. Except they'd probably be too small for a cast net, to be honest.
Yeah, they're too small for a cast net.
I'd have to get lucky and just come.
You'll be out there with a little custom cast net like this, you know.
I already ruined the cast net I got a couple of days ago. Because what happened with these peacock bass was they're actually too big for the netting. So they all got stuck skin tight in the netting. And I had to cut them out with scissors. I had to cut some of the knots. So there's at least 9 holes in that cast net.
Oh no.
But I think it's mostly fun. But I've spent like, I think almost now $120 just on cheap cast nets because I just keep going through them.
I might need to try me one day. I don't know. Man,
They're fun. They're fun.
we're at 2 hours and 14 minutes. I need to get out of here. Surprisingly, my wife hadn't text messaged. Maybe she went to sleep. But before she wakes up and realizes that I'm still in here talking on this. Hey, man, this was wonderful, dude. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoyed myself, man. Conversation was lovely, man. Let me see. Casual Aquatics, a few other people's like, man, learning so much. I mean, we touched on a whole lot of different things, man. And that's what it's all about. People, man, people associating with people again, stop looking down in your phones all the time. This way we look up at the phone, it's fine because it's still people we're talking to. But get up out of those phones, people, talk to somebody in real life. All right, y'all. Thank y'all very much for coming through. I appreciate you. We finna get out of here. Love somebody and take care of those fish.